child. Fourth down warriors chasing gold. This game's ours, it's ours to hold. One shot left, one play to run. Make it count under the setting sun. It's game time grind. All or nothing on the line. Push through the pain. Leave it all in the rain. It's game time grind. Victory's ours to find. Victory's ours to find. It's game time grind. Victory's ours to find. Victory's ours to find. Victory's ours to find.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Ali the Persian, and this is Game Time Grind. I got my host and buddy here, Mystic. How you doing, sir?
What's going on, man? Happy to be here. How are you?
Very, very good. And I just want to say this is going to be one exciting show. One hell of an exciting show. We have a special guest in the back. We're going to be bringing him up shortly. But before we get into that, everybody hit the like button, subscribe if you're brand new, turn on the notification bell. We are live on many fronts. You can catch us here on 4th and 10U, right? Follow us, subscribe to us, please. We're going to be putting out a ton more content pretty shortly. We also have us live on TFTG. If you follow us on TFTG, come over here and follow us at 4th and 10U as well. Right. In addition, you can find us live on X. You're going to find me on me and TFTG's X channel. So definitely follow us. We really appreciate it. We're trying to grow the channel. And the sooner we get to 100 followers, I have a special giveaway. So some special follower will get a giveaway. So, and it's going to be something nice. None of these cheesy things that people give away. No. This is actually going to be and I'll go tell you what it is. If we get to 100 followers, I'm going to go ahead and buy a hat for your favorite college football team. Your choice. You tell me, I'll go get it and have it sent to you. So, but let's get into the business. Before I do so, how you doing, sir? How was your Thanksgiving weekend?
Wonderful, man. Wonderful. We got to hang out with the family, the kids, all the good things, good food. Good games as well. It was good time. How about yourself?
Oh, it was great, man. Good football games. Like you said, the Detroit and Green Bay game is also always a plus to watch.
Absolutely.
Right? And got to see Turduncan on the field brings back memories. If people don't know about Turduncan, if you know what I mean? It's good. In addition, spent time with family, had a really good Thanksgiving dinner. And then the weekend was a plus. You had Black Friday to kick off on Friday. I got myself some, new games. Can't wait to play. College Football 26. I can't wait. I'm going to play that tonight. In addition, the weekend brought more college football games, and that's a great way to start. But before we do, I want to introduce our guest in the back because he's been waiting patiently. This man is very feared among people in the Twitter spaces. People are afraid of this guy. He knows his stuff. Everyone welcome Steve. What is up, Steve? Steve, you might be muted.
Oh, man. You do one of those moments where you hold your hand up and you're just not ready for the moment? Oh.
There we go. Am I muted now? There we go.
You're good. What's up, man?
What is up, sir?
Nothing much. I'm feared now, huh?
Hey, I don't know. All I saw in the Twitter spaces was Hurricane fans running away from the South Florida fans. And from my understanding, you're a South Florida fan. Am I correct?
That would be correct. Yes.
Yeah, they were running. They were running for the hills because of the news that we're going to get into here in a moment. But before we do so, sir, introduce yourself. Tell everybody where everybody can find you.
Hi, I'm Steve Knight, Dolphin Knight on Twitter. Just your general fan of things. I'm still kind of new to the college side of football, but I'm starting to enjoy it.
I like it. I like it. You're not related to Bobby Knight by chance, huh?
No, Knight's not my real last name.
Oh, okay. Okay. Hey, I was just asking. I mean, Bobby Knight was a legend, so I figured that asked. Anyway, everybody hit the like button. We're gonna get this party started. Before we do, I want to do a quick breakdown of what happened last week. Just real quick, quick fires about what happened last week in college football. The streak is over, right? If you didn't know, in rivalry weekend, the streak is over. Ohio State beat Michigan. And they didn't just beat Michigan by like a close score or a field goal. To be honest, it was a shellacking. It was belt to ass, and it could have been a lot worse. It could have been a lot worse had they not decided, you know what? Let's just run the ball for 12 minutes. They ran the ball for 12 straight minutes, killing 12 minutes off the clock in a quarter, right? And if you looked at the first half versus the second half, it was like night and day. You had 100 yards rushing from Michigan, I want to say, in the first half, and they came to play. Don't get me wrong. We started this game with diversity having to face it, right? Let's be real, right? They got a quick field goal, and then they got the interception that could have been another touchdown, but it led to another field goal, right? And we had to play from behind. We hadn't been behind at all, I want to say, this entire season. Maybe for a minute against the Washington Cougars, I think that's who it was. Or no, the Washington Huskies. I'm sorry. It was the Washington Huskies, I think we played. But if you look at it and you look at that game, the second half, -8 yards rushing, bro. -8 yards. And I'm going to tell you straight up, in my opinion, that was not the Bryce Underwood that everybody thought we were getting. Everybody thought Bryce Underwood was the next coming of, you could say the next Lamar Jackson or the next Michael Vick or the next Peyton Manning with his arm talent. You know what I mean? The guy was advertised to be the biggest thing, and he wasn't anywhere close to it. I don't know. What were your thoughts on that game?
Very underwhelming, for sure. Yeah, it just wasn't even, I don't know. It got to a point that I was just like, yeah, I know how this is going to go. What else is on?
Well, I mean, to be honest, it didn't start like underwhelming. It started fast. There was a lot of pushing and shoving. There was pushing and shoving. A referee gets headbutted and they didn't do anything. Yeah, they gave him a 15-yard penalty, but don't you think you should be ejected from the game?
Dude, I was surprised that he wasn't ejected on that.
If it was Ohio State, he'd be getting ejected. I'm just going to point that out, right? It was ridiculous, right? And the game didn't go on without shenanigans either. There was a lot of shenanigans going on. In addition to that, you saw there was a moment where the referee had to actually say that the player flopped, and he embellished the fall. Where have you seen that? We know where we've seen that. We've seen that in the NBA, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah. It was crazy. And then
that ref in the NFL.
Yes, because it happens in the NFL too. I will admit that. In addition to that, Steve, this is the funny thing. I thought we were over the cheating scandal, right? I thought Michigan kind of learned their lesson. Don't do this again. But now they're starting to, I don't know if it's who it is. I don't know if it's Michigan, the university that's causing this, or it's some fan that's trying to be the next Connor Styles or something like that, or Connor Stallion. Supposedly, and this is what's come out, and this is the funny part. And I'll start with this. The day before, or a couple days before, Ryan Day had mentioned that they have some concerns that the communication, there'd be an issue with communication, or that the headphones or something would go down, right? So we need to be prepared for that, and they have a plan in place. Lo and behold, during the biggest game of the year, on the Ohio State sideline only, the communication goes down. And you got Ohio State officials and Michigan officials on the Ohio State sideline arguing. At one point, an altercation even starts. Right? And you can't say that it was the weather, because why wasn't Michigan's headphone, communication down?
For sure.
Right? So you had Julian Sand running back and forth to the sideline getting the play, and we still won. It didn't matter. It didn't affect the game. The point is it's funny how your coach mentions this could happen, and then it actually happens. That's the part I think is funny. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how you can predict crazy things like the headsets and stuff going out. We saw that a couple times over the weekend across a few games.
Mm-hmm.
You would think at this point they would find a way to limit that as much as possible, but it adds added pressure, and I think it adds a little more to the win for Ohio State, where guys are running to the sideline to get plays. Like you're and to that, still the play getting in with enough time for the quarterback to call it in the huddle, line up, and do what he needs to do from the quarterback perspective, and still execute at the highest level possible in a game against, let's be honest, a very emotional game against a big rival. Like, that's a lot. And that's saying a lot for Julian Sayin himself.
Yeah, I definitely agree. What are your thoughts, Misty?
I mean, I don't think Michigan was in a league where they should have been. They're definitely out of their league, if you will, and finding ways to make excuses to lessen the blow. It's a big deal to both of those schools. If Ohio State loses to Michigan, Ohio State's pissed. If Michigan loses to Ohio State, Michigan's pissed. It's never a good look for the people in that organization when they lose to the opposition.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, finding ways to lessen that, if you will, make the excuses. Oh, we had this. Oh, sounds like lack of being prepared. That's what it looks like to me. Ohio State had preparation. They were prepared if there was something to go wrong. Michigan's over here. La. They just didn't look good.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of said in the beginning of the sense of I got to a point where it was like, probably third, fourth quarter. I was like, all right, well, Ohio State, good job. Like, on to the next.
Yeah, on to the next one. Yeah. I agree. I kind of understand where you're coming from. I guess for me, being a fan, you never know what's going to happen. And even after the game, there was the Michigan team decided to protect the center of their field because they were so worried we were going to plant the flag. I'm sorry. I got to say this. If you're ready to fight on the field right after the game and to protect your logo or whatever, why weren't you ready to fight during the game? Where was the fight during the game? Because in the fourth quarter, it just looked like they just gave up at a point. At a point, it did.
100%.
And that's the last thing I got to say on that. But let's talk about some of the other games. You know what I mean? The Ole Miss game, with Texas A&M, or not Texas A&M. Who did they play? Ole Miss played Mississippi State, right?
There you go.
Mississippi State, right? That game was really interesting. What was something? Somebody came up to Lane Kiffin and called him a bad name after the game when he was walking out. Talk about that. Tell me what happened. Something happened here.
The guy, I guess, called him a hoe or something.
Children watching at home, I'm sorry for the language, but this is a show meant for adults, not necessarily children. Just beware. Go ahead.
Yeah, he literally. Guy literally called him a hoe, and he turned around, walked up to the guy, and said, "Why don't we walk back here into this room, and you can call me a hoe, and we'll see how that goes." And he turned around and walked away.
Well, what I think is funnier is during his press conference, someone asked him about it, and he actually had to talk about being called a hoe.
Now that's awesome. See, I didn't see that, so you got to tell us about that.
he basically he gave some nomenclature, but that's not the worst part. That's not the worst part. The worst part happens the very next day. You know what that was?
Uh-oh.
Lane Kiffin gets fired supposedly because they weren't going to wait for him to go to LSU. They knew he was going to get the LSU job, right? So they basically fired him on a tarmac, and you got all the fans booing him, calling him a hoe, and everything else that you can think of as he flies out of town to go to LSU.
Wow.
Right? And he's supposed to be asked, "Hey, can I still coach my my team?" And they're like, "Hell no, we don't want you to coach the team during the playoffs. We don't want that." You know what I mean?
You know what's a crazier thought on all that too, Ollie?
Go ahead.
Look at how many players decommitted from LSU today and went to other schools.
Yeah. And that's not the only team we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about quite a few that happened, but that is a huge one. Yeah, that is very, very eye-opening, right? But since we're talking about it, let's bring it up. The coaching carousel continues, right? As you saw, Lane Kiffin to LSU happened. After being called a hoe, he decides to fly out of town and go to LSU. And all the commits are getting up and leaving. I guess they're not very happy with who they went with. That was very interesting. In addition to that, Penn State has yet to hire somebody, and let's actually talk about that real quick because Penn State has yet to hire somebody, and we broke it. I don't know if we necessarily broke it, but we really called Coach Franklin going to Virginia Tech here on 4th and 10. You and I talked about this as a possibility, and I want to say that we called it before a lot of people did. Not necessarily everybody, but a lot of people, right? And yes, it's Franklin time at Tech. Did you see the amount of people that got up and decommitted from Penn State and went to Virginia Tech?
So as of right now, it stands that there's 11 people that have flipped from Penn State to Virginia Tech. Now, with that, since James Franklin has now been there, a couple weeks, I saw a report that their recruiting class went from I want to say the 120s to 130s up to number 43.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Exactly what we were saying. He's going to build a foundation. He's just, again, it's not going to be a championship team, a national championship team. They're going to win some good things. They're going to do some good things for the program. It's going to be sustainable, but I don't think he's going to do anything over the top in the sense of win the ACC. But we'll see.
Yeah. So that's what I've been saying. I don't know what your thoughts on Coach Franklin is, Steve, but for me, he's a guy that's going to come in. He's going to set up your program, set up the recruiting tree going, right? But he's not necessarily the guy that's going to win you the big game. He's not going to get you over the hump, if you know what I mean, right? That's the big knock on him. What are your thoughts on Virginia Tech, or the thought that both LSU and Penn State had all these commits decommit?
I wanted to touch on Franklin a little bit because, and I may be in the minority here, I was actually a fan of Drew Aller last year, and I was looking forward to what he was going to be able to bring to college this year. And then it kind of turned into a disaster over there, and I blame Lane Kiffin for that quite a bit. However, on another note on that, I don't know if anybody saw it, but there was rumors flying around on Twitter today that the boosters are pushing for their interim coach to take over full command for Penn State. So I agree. I think he is a as a coach, somebody that can set up your program to succeed in the future, but I do not necessarily believe that he's one of those guys that can lead you to that success. It's kind of like, and not to take it away from college, but to kind of with the Raiders and what they're doing with Pete Carroll. I think that's kind of a similar situation where it's setting up the team where he may not necessarily be the head coach moving forward, but it's putting in the groundwork for whoever ends up taking over in the long run will have a foundation to play with.
I agree with you 100%. He's the startup guy. He's the guy that comes in, builds it, but he's not the guy to run it. That's basically what it comes down to. And I kind of feel like Penn State went from a team that was dubbed to be the national, like contending for national championship this year, to like the worst team ever. That's where what's happened. Do you understand? They've become like a laughing stock. They have blundered this whole process like it was crazy. And I don't know if you guys watch interviews with Colin Cowherd and Joe Klatt. Do you guys watch that at all, or what was said? Klatt said, what he said was that he believed that Penn State had a plan. Their plan was basically something of the set of they wanted to go after Kurt Cignetti. That's who they wanted. But supposedly Cignetti said no, right? Slammed the door down. No, not going to happen. And after that, they didn't really have a plan. So they decided, okay, we'll go after the guy at BYU, right? I can't think of his name. Maybe you guys can look up his name real quick. But supposedly one of their boosters or sponsors at BYU is the guy that runs that cookie crumble company. I don't. You guys might know who I'm talking about. The cookie company.
Yeah, Crumble.
Yeah, Crumble. And he said, "Oh no, I'm going to give all this money to the guy at BYU. He's staying. He ain't going nowhere." Because I guess the guy's a big BYU fan, right?
Are you talking about Kalani Sataki? I think his name is.
Maybe. I don't know. That's what the big meme is that's going around.
That is correct.
That's what the big meme that's going around right now on the internet is, that Penn State got beat by a cookie, or by a cookie kind of thing. And supposedly Coach Franklin today, there's rumors that he was also taking shots at Penn State when he was talking about his signing day, and they were handing out that cookie company's cookies during his thing too. So I don't know if that was shots at Penn State or not. I don't know if that's true or not. Just something I saw. I thought it was hilarious, so I had to bring it up.
Funny enough, you say that. I'm actually just kind of stumbled upon a report that Penn State is actually looking to land BYU's head coach.
They're trying, but it's not going to happen.
So they've met. There's been basically talks of what the staff would look like, what his future looks like. But he basically has said, right now this is kind of where we're at, but I'm focused on the Big 12 title game, basically. So he wants to run this, which I don't blame him. He wants to run out this potential playoff and see how he can, land with this BYU team and how it all shakes down, and then probably go from there. It's a smart play on his part. If he already got interest, then play it out, run this team to the end, and if he gets a chip, maybe he gets something bigger.
There was a funny thing said, and it's not a real thing. It's not going to happen. But did you see what Ben Roethlisberger said today about Penn State?
What did he say?
He said Tomlin should go there and coach.
Oh shit! Yeah. There's another team in the same division as the Steelers that supposedly Cleveland fans are banging the table for Tomlin. So that's something to think about too. But let's get back to college football real quick. I understand that there's a report that he's supposed to be going to revisit it, but what I'm hearing is that this booster is paying him like an offer that he can't refuse, like The Godfather, and that's why he's not going to go anywhere.
I actually just kind of did a little more research, and BYU is offering him a massive long-term extension to stay. Details are potentially going to be coming.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. That's why I knew it was coming. So that being said, right? So you had the issue with Kurt Cignetti. He said no. They went to the BYU guy, and he said, there's money involved now, so that's probably going to be a no. And then the next question is, who are they going to turn to? And this is what Joel said. He basically said, is it going to be what's his name, Manny Diaz, the guy from Duke University? Right? Or the coach of Virginia. Those are interesting names. I don't know. I mean, it's possible. But why they've waited so long and they didn't do anything really in recruiting is because I think they're trying to figure out who their guy is going to be first. And I think it's kind of hurting. It's kind of like backfiring on them. And then he said he made one thought, but he said there's nothing behind it. It's just his opinion. Could you imagine if they went after Alabama's head coach? Do you think the guy from Alabama wants to leave Alabama? I don't think so.
No way.
DeBoer. Is it DeBoer or what's his name? God, I can't think of his name. Yeah. Do you think he wants to leave that job? There's jobs in college
not.
football.
I think that was like his dream job. He said was to go to coach Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, look at it this way. There are dream jobs in college football, and I call it college football heritage. There's heritage teams, right? Yep. You have the Notre Dames, you have the Alabamas or the LSUs, right? Or Oklahoma is one. USC is also there. Ohio State is a dream job because it's a heritage school, right? And if you don't know what I mean by that is you go back and you look at the team names that show up in college football history the most. Those are the historical, I'll call it college heritage schools, right? Texas is another one, right? Sark has a dream job for most coaches, right? So that being said, I kind of feel like that I don't see that happening at all. Maybe the guy from Duke, maybe the guy from Virginia, and I don't know. We'll see what happens with the BYU guy, but those are the only three other options. Who else are you going to bring in? Brian Hartline, I guess, couldn't get that job or didn't want that job. I don't know. And that speaks to the next person we're going to talk about at the coaching carousel. Brian Hartline, South Florida. Congratulations, Steve. Congratulations. Woo! You have Brian Hartline, who I'll be honest, is a home run hit for you guys. He really is, right? He's a great wide receivers coach. He is a great, actually, I'll argue he's one of the top recruiters in the country today, right? He is. He's part of the reason, not the full reason, but he's part of the reason why Ohio State has had guys in more recent history like Jeremiah Smith, Jackson and Jigba Smith, or Chris Olave, those guys, right? Those guys were founded, recruited, and everything through, Brian Hartline and the guys that work under Brian Hartline as well. So shout out to you guys. I think it's great. I don't know how it's going to affect this year's recruiting yet, because I kind of feel like he's playing behind the 8 ball now because he's late in the game. But what are your thoughts about the hiring? What do you expect? What are you hearing?
So the details aren't out yet, but it is reported through the Palm Beach Post that it's a 6-year deal.
Ooh.
So it is a lengthy deal. I don't know how it's going to affect. I think you make a good point that it's kind of late because we already have our early signings because today is National Signing Day, the start of it. I do expect next year to be the bigger move, but for USF as a whole, for a team that I feel like was very overlooked for this season, I get the division that they're in, the conference they're in. It's not the strongest. They are a team that was decimating people. Mm-hmm. Yes, it was the lower teams, but you play who's in front of you, and you're averaging 45 points to 60 points a game against most of them. And then of the 3 ranked teams we played, we beat 2 of them. We beat Florida, we beat Boise, and then what I call the oddity game, even though they like to take the victory laps because they've earned the right, the UM game. So now you're taking a head coach in Gulish who left, and you're putting in Brian Hartline, who can bring in what I think is something we need, even though there's a few nice receivers. We're a team full of 3-star recruits at the end of the day. We don't have those big money guys. There was a report yesterday that we have $250 million in recruiting money that we have to spend because we're not paying nobody.
You haven't spent is what you're saying?
Haven't. Yeah. We haven't spent nothing. We have $250 million.
In that case, I think Brian Hartline will be a home run when it comes to recruiting. You may not get all of the 5-star recruits right away, but I think he will start. You'll start seeing an uptick in 4-star recruiting, maybe 1 or 2 5-stars that could show up in your class. But I like the fact, and I apologize. I apologize for interrupting, and I'll let you go. I do think this is going to be a 2-year process before you start to see that, and I think that's why they went with the 6-year deal. But go ahead.
And I agree with that. But again, for a team, I don't want it to get it mixed up that or lost that we were in the college playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
We were there. We lost to Memphis and Navy in those 2 games in 3 weeks by a total of 6 points. And it took us out. Like, it was end of game. And Bynum Brown was carrying us through those games. I mean, you're talking about he ripped off, I think it was a 67-yard run touchdown in one game and just was doing everything he could. And he didn't have, I like some of the receivers, like I said, we have guys, but they're just guys. We're missing that big piece. And I think Hartline brings that one big piece to us that could get us over the hump. Especially after today, we signed a bunch of corners, which I think was part of our problem. On defense, we were getting stops, but we weren't getting the turnovers that I wanted. And then the receivers, like I said, we would halt out because we couldn't get the receivers going the way they wanted to. So I think Hartline brings the aspect of our game that we need to take that next step and put us at least, if nothing else, in the AAC championship game and start fighting for position in playoff games. So I think it's a huge move. I think it's a good fit. Brian Hartline comes back to Florida, where he should have never have left to begin with. This is a great homecoming for them and for a college who literally dug their own trenches to get to where they are.
Yeah, I agree with that. What are your thoughts on this, Mystic?
Excuse me. So, looking into it more, 5 first-round picks, I believe is what I just saw at wide receiver since 2022 is what he's developed. I mean, I see some good things, honestly. Obviously, Ollie, you kind of have some things. I'll let you share. I won't steal your thunder on kind of maybe what could be maybe some of his weaknesses, if you will. But again, if you get a good enough staff of people around you, you can mask the things that maybe you're not so great at. Since he's great at recruiting, it's instantly going to put that college in a better situation than they were. I expect them to land probably some bigger names than probably most would see, prior to him going down there. And I think to Steve's point, I think he definitely is going to have them get a season or two. I think you see them playing up there and having a chance to win that conference and maybe punch that playoff ticket.
Yeah, I look. I think this is awesome for South Florida. I think it is a great hire. I think it's putting. It's not just helping the team on the field, but I think it helps the program to start promoting them more and putting them on a bigger scale. And I think it's gonna only get better as we get from year 1 to year 2 and year 2 to year 3. That's what I think. Now, let me talk about Ohio State's. Actually, before I get into Ohio State's stuff about this, like how do we feel, or what do I think of how Ohio State is going to feel after this? Right. I want to talk about Brian Hartline. Like I said, amazing wide receivers coach. Right. He got into coaching, became the wide receivers coach. Hell of a wide receivers coach. Right. Got into recruiting, took it and ran with it like he was the goat of recruiting. The guy can recruit like the best of them. Right. Every year where Ohio State is in talks with whatever number 1 receivers coming into college. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter. He's had 2 opportunities as an offensive play caller. People forget the year before, I want to say it was the year before the national championship run, he was the offensive coordinator, and it didn't turn out so well. It started off kind of rocky, not really good. And I want to say eventually, I believe Ryan Day took the reins away from him. And then we went on to hire 2 offensive coordinators later and ended up with Chip Kelly, right? We ended up with Chip Kelly and won a national title, right? Now he's gotten a second stint as an offensive coordinator with Ohio State. And if you look at Ohio State from last year under Chip Kelly or the year before, actually not even the year before, you look at just last year and then you look at this year, it's night and day with that offense. It's not as explosive. They don't necessarily go deep down the field as much as they did before. And it's not because Julian Sayin doesn't have the arm, because he can throw it down deep like the best of them. You see his deep passes, they're like perfect, right? I just don't know if he has the offensive play calling mindset that you guys, some of your fan base may think they're getting, right? Now, here's the flip side of it. You don't need to be an offensive caller to be a head coach. And maybe that's kind of why this hire makes sense for them, because they needed somebody that can bring presence, comes from a prestige program, and helps build their program, right? So what I think is going to be the biggest test for Brian Hartline right off the get-go is finding the right people to surround himself around to be able to do some of those things that he may not be good at, right? Like offensive play calling, for example. Not saying that he can't do it. He's done it for the better part of this year, but there's those rumors that Ryan Day has, taken play calling from him here or there, depending on the situation, especially in that Texas game. That was supposed to be your first game. You see yourself all prepared. They got you on camera and everything all prepared up there. And everyone's saying that Ryan Day kind of decided to make the call that they're going to play conservative during that game, right? So that also adds into why I think this move makes sense for Brian Hartline. Moving away from the school, it was inevitable. I think it happens. My only thing is that, what was he going to do? Was he going to wait till Ryan Day retires? I don't see Ryan Day retiring for a long time. Who knows? He'll probably be there as much as this guy wins. I think that guy's going to be there till he retires, to be honest. The way he wins. If you don't know, I want to say Ryan Day is what? 80, 81 or 82 and 10? It's something stupid now, right? I want to say it's something stupid like that, his record. So I don't know. I think it's a great hire for you guys. I do think it's going to take a good year or two, as long as he gets the right people around him. And I think you guys are going to see definitely a next level step up from where you guys were at. You guys were definitely making, strides. I think this is going to be your next level move. So
I could add one little thing to that. You know what I like about this move? And it's one of those things like, yeah, I mean, I'm a USF fan. I don't think this hurts Ohio State or in any way, right? I think this is a benefit for us that doesn't hurt you guys at all. Because, again, like part of USF's, I think, ultimate problem is it's such a low school on the totem pole that recruiting, like I said earlier, has always been an issue. Like getting guys to the school, because we don't fork out a lot of money. Like I said, that's why we have so much money to spend, right? Because we don't fork money out. Even Ghoulish, his contract was like $5 million over 3 years. Like we didn't even pay the head coach. That's why I think he left ultimately. So this is a I don't want to say win-win, but it's a win and then status quo for Ohio State. So USF gets the win. They get a guy who I think brings what they need. And then Ohio State still gets to continue to be the school that they've been and the recruiting team that they are. And the receivers, I think, are still going to be good for y'all. You still have Jeremiah Smith. I despite what Twitter wants to say, I doubt he's going anywhere. Like you're less than 1% chance anything like that would even happen. That kid loves Ohio State. Like you brought up him maybe staying. I don't know if that will happen. I think he will come out next year when he gets the chance. Not like this year, but the 2027. And it's a win for USF and not a loss for Ohio State.
Yeah, and I just want to address that real quick because we want to talk about what's going on with Nationals early signing day, which we kind of started talking about a little bit. So let me start off the day what happened, and I want to clarify some things because some people are saying that this is really bad for Ohio State. Ohio State's in the mud or anything like that. Pump the brakes real quick. These are the facts. This morning, Chris Henry Jr., this class, arguably number one receiver, right, said he's sticking it with Ohio State. He's going to sign his letter of intent and everything. Everything's great. He announced it, whole big deal. An hour or so later, when the news broke about Brian Hartline, I want to say it was a couple hours later or whatever, he came out and said, you know what, I've decided I'm going to take a moment, reevaluate everything, and just make sure I'm making the right decision for my future. He has every right to do that, right? And supposedly USC and Oregon have been really pushing him really hard, right? Here are the things. People are upset. Ohio State fans. Excuse me, Mystic. You have a hot mic, I think.
Sorry.
It's okay. Ohio State fans, some Ohio State fans, not all of them, but some Ohio State fans are really upset with the timing of this announcement that he's going to go to University of South Florida, right? Why now? Of all weeks, we got a Big Ten championship game this weekend and everything. Why would you do that now? Well, I'll tell you why. If you are one of the nation's top recruiters, right? That means that you have loyalty to these players. You have a reputation that you're loyal to them and you're going to be honest with them, right? You have to think about this isn't just like they had one meeting and the person commits. That's not how this works, right? You build a relationship, you build a friendship, you're in communication with them week in and week out. You set up visits, you have in-home visits. They do all these things. They spend millions of dollars recruiting players to come to their schools, right? And by building these relationships, even after they say they sign with somebody else, these relationships are still there, right? They still message, hey, coach, how you doing? And everything, and they're friends, right? So as a person of that nature, and this is going to be your first time head coaching gig, do you want to go into that gig knowing that you didn't tell these players that you were going to another school? That word would get out quick, and that would kind of mess with your recruiting, wouldn't you think? What do you guys think about that?
I think you're right. I also think that this move was kind of needed because USF didn't have a head coach and we were doing our own recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
And we needed to show some of these kids because we were actually reaching out. There was a 4-star edge, I believe, out of Kentucky we were looking at. There was a 4-star wide receiver who ended up going to the U, I believe, that we were looking at. So they needed to show some of these kids that, hey, listen, we do have our head coach in mind. It's not just going to be some guy on our staff, because that was the original rumor that we were going to elevate, I believe, the offensive coordinator to the head coaching job. But to show that we were getting some of that. So for that aspect, I think it was more of the timing of us losing Ghoulish and needing a head coach than just getting Heartline in somewhere for the relationships, or USF trying to do some kind of shiesty move to move some of these players from going to Ohio State or another team and try and bring them here.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, do you really think Chris Henry Jr. was going to come to your team? No, probably not. What's the other guy? Wyatt Dixon or whatever his name is, the other big wide receiver that signed with USC. he's probably not going to go there. Even the guy, there's another guy that LSU's trying to sign underneath of us that he's probably not going to come to South Florida either. So it wasn't.
I will say this. I don't think it eliminates the possibility of it happening just because we have so much money. But I highly doubt it's going to happen. I will say, I don't know if you saw it or not, but Oregon's push has been reported that it might be a little more successful now for Chris. So.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. We'll see, because those were the same reports that said Jeremiah Smith wasn't going to come to Ohio State as well. The last minute, supposedly Miami was pushing big. You know what I mean? And he was leaning Miami at one point. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's not like I haven't been here before, but I do agree with you. It doesn't really hurt us. If you think that Ohio State's recruiting is just going to get up and leave, I'm sorry, it's not. It was there before Brian Hartline. It will be there after Brian Hartline. That's the facts. Every time everybody thinks that we're in the mud or we're going to, move off and, we're going to just die or something, we don't die. We don't. We continue to pick up right where we left off and continue as a seamless transition. So I do agree with you in that fact, that it is basically something that doesn't really hurt us, but it helps you guys. It's a win-win situation. Not really a win-win, but we don't lose. So we'll just we'll talk about that. We'll just say that. Some other interesting things we mentioned already. LSU, ton of decommits and flip into other teams. Penn State, like half the recruiting class went to Virginia Tech. That's crazy. And Franklin's like, it wasn't where the schools they were committed to why I went after them. It's just the relationships we had, which I kind of believe that, to be honest. I actually believe that, to be honest.
Definitely believable.
Definitely. What else? Any other big noted talks? Anything about National Signing Day you guys want to bring up real quick before
a lot of kids starting to move to Auburn? I don't know if anybody noticed that.
That they're going to Auburn is what you're saying?
Well, Auburn stole a number of kids today too. It wasn't just Virginia Tech. Like Auburn snatched a kid from Alabama. They snatched a kid from LSU. They snatched a kid, I believe, from Georgia. Ever since Goulash moved, like once he signed the contract, kids started changing their committing to Auburn, which is going to help Auburn. Yeah,
we'll see. I will say Georgia also they flipped a commit to, I think it was one of their offensive line commits that they needed really bad, inside offensive lineman. So that was kind of a big one. It'll be really interesting to see what happens. But Ohio State still signed like 25 players today, right? Yep. So still signed 25 players. We still have the number 7 recruiting class in college. You know what's
really interesting? Dade brought it up to me. Miami, their recruiting class for receivers are all big body receivers. Every single one of them is 6'2", 2 something.
Yeah.
They're trying, I think, as Dade said, they're trying to change what their identity is from a receiver perspective. I think that was very interesting.
You know who else has a big bodied receiver? And his quarterback may be looking to go to a new school.
Who's that?
Sellers, who I have rumored that Miami may be interested in, and Dade knows that. I say that every time, but it's true. I can't think of I don't have the player's name off the top of my head, but this guy's tall. He's big, right? Receiver? Yeah, he goes to South Carolina.
Nick Harbor.
Yeah, he's going to probably be drafted this year, right?
Yeah, 6'6", 205.
Big-bodied receiver.
235, sorry, 235.
Hey, we got big-bodied receivers over here too. I'm just saying that's probably what he's. I know Dade's probably going to hate me for saying it, but Sellers might be a guy. It might be a guy there. Just hold on to that. Who knows? We'll see, because they still need a quarterback, and I have yet to see Miami. Now that we're speaking about the Hurricanes, I've yet to see them develop a quarterback. It's been transfer after transfer the last 3 years. Yep. So I want to see them do it. So we'll see what happens. What else? We talked about that. Before we get into the preview of this weekend, real quick, and it looks like we're going to go over just a little bit, Mystic, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely, that's fine.
Heisman implications in front runner changes. We had this subject last week. We're going to talk about it again this week. Even though he had an interception, how the game ended and how well he was doing, I don't think Julian Sayin hurt himself at all. Do you think he hurt himself at all? In fact, I think he helped himself, showing that he could lead his team coming back from some diversity of some kind.
Yeah, I'd say, getting the win, no matter what, you're in a good spot.
Yeah, I think the winner of the Heisman is going to be decided this weekend. Those are my thoughts. What are you guys' thought on that?
Yeah, for sure. No, I think this weekend definitely is going to be the deciding factor. If Fernando Mendoza and Indiana find a way to beat Ohio State, I think that kind of helps give Mendoza his Heisman moment. That's his opportunity in my mind.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think whoever plays better and actually wins the game. I think that's who walks away with this Heisman. That's how close it is. Because, for example, how can you deny Julian Sayin's completion rate? Do you guys know what his completion rate is?
I think I saw
it's like 73%, ain't it?
Yeah, I saw like 73 or.
I want to say it's more than that. Actually, I'm going to look it up right now because last week prior to the game.
No, it's Mendoza that was 73%.
Yeah, Sayin is like 80 something, I think. Sayin completion percentage. Yeah, well, okay, it's come down a little bit. He was right around the 80 to 81%. This is saying, and I don't know how accurate this is because it depends. Actually, let me go here. I'll trust ESPN. ESPN can tell me what's up. Yeah, so according to ESPN, he's averaging about 79%. It was at 80%. Now it's dropped to 79%. Even then, crazy. The fact that he was averaging 80% and now he's at 79%, that is crazy. That's kind of unheard of. Like low 70s, maybe 75%. You hear about that. But for sure. 79 to 80%, holy crap. That itself is amazing. Now, the only knock on, you could say on Julian Sayin is the fact that he didn't fight. He didn't play against the bigger teams. Yeah, he played against Texas. That was a conservative performance, if anything. Yes, we did play Penn State, but we already knew what happened to Penn State by that point. I want to say we played Michigan. Michigan was probably one of the higher ranked teams that we finally got to play that was still ranked. And they put up a fight and he fought back and we won, right? And then after we got the lead, it was smooth sailing after that. So I want to say for me, I think this matchup is really interesting. It'll be really interesting on who they decide with, but I really think it's going to come down to. I think it's going to come down to whoever wins this game, because even if you look at Mendoza really hasn't had like people for the same knocks that they knock on Ohio State, they knock on Indiana, saying who have they played? Have they played anybody in the top 5? You know what I mean? This is the one game you get to that is in the top 5 that you're playing. One of the first times and this will go into our next topic. This is one of the first times that you get to see in a conference championship game the number 1 and number 2. It may have happened before, but it's been a while.
Very rare.
Very rare, right? So I think it's really interesting. Both teams are very tough, very well coached. I know they're very talented. I think this is going to come down to battle of coaches, but also I think it's going to come down to whoever has the better defense.
I can see that.
That's what I think. I think this could be, it could come down to that. And you look at the receivers, I want to say they have fast, reliable, at times dangerous receivers just as much as we do. they're not necessarily all 5-star recruits, but they are very well coached and talented. And you've seen in many games where at the last second they catch the ball in the end zone, back of the end zone. You've seen that happen. I forget who it was, the more famous one that they were playing. But the reality is, for me, is that I really think that this game is going to come down to whoever has the better defense and who can play chess better. That's basically what it comes down to. What do you guys?
Absolutely. I got one interesting little tidbit. So, we were kind of like, it said who did Indiana play this year. So I was like, I think I want to look into this. So technically, if we're being honest, in my opinion, when I'm looking at this schedule, their 3 biggest wins, 2 would be ranked, 1 not. The not ranked would be, in my opinion, traveling to Iowa in the Big Ten. That's always a tough game for certain individuals. They squeaked out late in the fourth quarter and got it done.
Sure.
They played at Oregon, number 3, took care of business, beat them by 10, and absolutely trounced when they were ranked number 9, Illinois, 63-10. So those would be their quality wins, in my opinion. And no one else. Penn State, funny enough, kept it close, but no one else had really kept it close with this team all year. Kind of the same thing with Ohio State. That's why it's that one, like you said, that 1 versus 2 matchup. It's a very intriguing game. I think it has an opportunity to be a potentially instant classic when you're talking about Big Ten championship football. It's in the dome. You don't got to worry about weather. It's literally just going to be 2 teams showing up, playing a game, and I'm excited to watch it. Again, you're going to have a Heisman moment potentially here within this game. It just makes it that much better.
Yeah, I really think you may see a couple Heisman moments, to be honest, and it could happen to both teams too.
100%.
Both teams at times have a high-powered offense. One guy is really on the spotlight for having a big arm, big time arm, and he showed it off when it mattered. Another guy is Cool Hand Luke. He's calm, collected, just making the right plays, not letting pressure get to him. Even in the biggest game of the year, he was just being himself, and he's been very successful at it. What are your thoughts, Steve, before we do predictions on this game?
I think for Fernando Mendoza, he needs this win. For a prospect, he needs this win. There's so much, and like Mystic was bringing up, like who they've played and how they've won these games. I think at times he's shown he's a very good quarterback, but for a prospect going into the draft, I think he needs this to show this in the playoffs to show who he is as a contender when he plays those big games. So I agree this game is going to come down to who wins the Heisman, even though in my own world, I still think there should be one more guy still in that Heisman race. But one of those 2 dudes is going to end up winning it. And this game is definitely going to show that.
Absolutely. I definitely agree. I'm going to start off with my prediction because mine's kind of hot. I'm going to say whoever gets to 30 points wins this game. That's whoever gets there first. And because one thing is for sure, every time that Ohio State has scored more than 30 points, they've won. There's been this whole season, they've won. Right? And I know they haven't ever faced being behind like that at all, or had anybody put that many points on the board against them. I want to say, and actually, I think if I'm looking at it right, the closest they've been to having double-digit points put up on them was 2 times. That was Penn State and the Illinois game. Those are the only time that they ever had double-digit points put on them for the whole season.
Which is very interesting when you look at those games too, because again, Illinois got absolutely trounced by Indiana, but put up 10, and Penn State kept it within 3 points. It was a 27-24.
Yeah, this is my. I'm sorry, Mystic. Real quick, this is my This is my final prediction because I'm going to give you the numbers because I said whoever gets the 30 points. But ultimately, I think that Ryan Day and Matt Patricia, they know they have a plan. And I think that with their knowledge of this game and the NFL prowess of bringing that NFL style defense where it's much harder to decipher, I'm going to give it to Ryan Day and the Ohio State Buckeyes. I think they win. And I'll go ahead and say it 31-24. So that's what I think it's going to be. That's my opinion. Go ahead, Mystic. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine. No, you're fine. I just wanted to add that point. This is just crazy that those two came up when you're talking about it. Steve, do you got anything? I kind of feel like I need to be the last one to talk on this. Let's hear your prediction here.
Mine's, I think, can be. I don't know. I think the thing that will lead to the winner is the winner of the turnover battle. These are two quarterbacks who have not turned the ball over very much this season. They've been very comfortable with the ball and very smart with it. But you said exactly what I was going to say, Ali, that NFL defense. That's why I said this is even more of a big game for Mendoza, because this is the game that the talent evaluators are looking at. You're facing an NFL defense. How are you going to handle the reads? How are you going to handle? Because Indiana's weaponry is nowhere near Ohio State's. So he's going to have to be even extra on his P's and Q's. I think the winner of the turnover battle will win this game. And I think it's going to be a 26-30 win for Ohio State.
Very interesting.
And that's why I knew I needed to go last. Hot take, folks. Hot take. I've been thinking about this. I really have. I've been thinking about it. I've been watching both of these teams here pretty close to the last 2-3 weeks. And the more that I look at it, I think this is going to be the toughest game for Ohio State all season. I think when you look at it, obviously we know what that defense is, but I think when you look at Mendoza, the way that team can attack with the run game, I think they're going to be able to attack that defense. I think Mendoza is going to have his moments where he's going to be able to extend these drives and just make some crucial plays to really take control of the game when they need. Now, am I saying it's going to be one? Hell no, it's not going to be lopsided. It's going to be a very close game. But I think when it comes down to it, I agree with your 30-point take. I do think it's going to be probably first one to 30. However, I have a 35-28 Indiana upset in the Big Ten championship.
I don't like it, but I'll take it. I'll take it. I just want to. I'm gonna tie this in a bow, really quick. In a knot and in a bow, right? Put this in a bow for you, real quick. Big Ten awards came out today.
Oh, nice.
I'm gonna start here. Defensive Back of the Year award.
I can only imagine. Does it start with a C and end with a Downs?
Caleb Downs, exactly. Defensive Back of the Year. The Butkus Fitzgerald Linebacker of the Year award. Arvell Reese. That's a name to watch out for our team, because I think that could happen in a certain scenario. So keep thinking about that.
Nice.
Smith Brown Defensive Lineman of the Year award. Caden McDonald, Ohio State. And last but not least, Defensive Player of the Year award for the Big Ten. Drum roll, please. Caleb Downs. So Ohio State sweeps a majority of the Defensive Player of the Year awards. Just going to point that out. So that's why this game, I really feel the defense is going to make the biggest difference. And whoever plays better defense, that's who wins. That's just my opinion.
I did want to bring one thing up because I saw it earlier. I don't know if you remember, Ollie. You remember that mock draft website I told you about? That I use.
Yeah.
They put out their mock draft for the Dolphins this year. They have us taking Austin Scherfeld in the 3rd round and Arvell Reese with our first.
It's a possibility. I mean, I don't know where we're going to end up. Some people think we're going to be in the 15s or later, but I'm looking at who needs what, and Arvel Reese is a name he could drop. And if he drops to us, if we take him, I'll be happy with it. I'll take it. I'd like to see him and Brooks next to each other, to be honest. So
For sure.
we'll see. But back to college football now. Sorry. So that's the Ohio State versus Indiana game. We'll see what happens. Whoever scores 30 or more, I think that's wins. I kind of think that follows suit with Mystic. And I think what did you say? What was your prediction again, Steve?
23-30.
Who's winning?
Ohio State.
Yep.
There you go. Next game for this weekend. Big one. And I'm going to pull that up right here. Okay. Next big game, Georgia Bulldogs versus Alabama. SEC championship on the line. Why it matters, Alabama already beat Georgia from my understanding. Is that correct? I believe they did already.
Let me see here. That sounds about right. It really does.
Yep, I believe they did. What else? Why does it matter? I mean, come on, it's the SEC championship crown. Who in the SEC doesn't want that crown?
Oh, man, it was a battle. 24-21.
Yep.
Yeah, that was kind of a battle. And whoever has that crown technically has the momentum going into the college football playoff. Both of them are in the college football playoff at this point. But here is my caveat, because I'm going to go straight to my prediction and why. I don't know if I'm not really going to say it's a prediction, but I just want to bring this caveat to this. Alabama's lost 2 games. They lost to Florida State and they lost to Oklahoma, right? Those are the two losses they have.
Yep, Oklahoma and Florida State.
Do they have any other losses? No. Okay.
Nope.
No, only 2.
If they lose to Georgia, are we going to allow a team that lost 3 games into this college football playoff?
Uh-oh. Are you telling UM fans there's a chance, Ali?
I don't know. I don't know if their chances are, because I don't know what they need exactly. I know they need. I think they're on the outside. I don't know what their ranking is exactly because I don't have it in front of me.
Well, they're like number 11 or 12.
Something.
They're number 12.
They're number 12, right? So if Alabama loses, does UM get the spot? That's a good question. And it doesn't go for just UM. It goes for some of these other teams too. Like, who else is on the outside looking in?
Well, here's my thing. If we're going to let a three-loss team in there, then I guess they should be talking about Texas being in there as a 3-loss team then too, right? Like, I don't like the 3-loss thing. I'm with you, Ali. I think if Alabama loses this game, I think that one of these 2-loss teams gets in over them.
It'll be interesting. And yeah, Texas, I think you're right. They're a 3-loss team, aren't they? I think they are.
Yep, they're 9-3.
That's another team. So maybe we do have a 3-loss team that gets into this.
It also depends on how UM ends too, because they're already a 2-loss team.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I think they have. If Alabama loses, I think UM has a chance to get in over Alabama. In my opinion.
UM season is over. They don't play anybody this weekend, right?
They don't play anybody anymore.
Oh, are they done? Oh, okay.
Nope. Yeah, they have to have help. They need Alabama and or BYU, which is another game we'll talk about. Go ahead, Ali.
Yeah. So my prediction is this. I think this is going to be a fight to the finish. And I think whoever wins this game, it's going to be by 3 points. Almost kind of like the Auburn game where you didn't know what was going to happen. I'm going to say just because they have in big games, they have not been their best, except they really finally showed up against Auburn at the last second. So I'll give them that. I'm going to go Georgia wins by 3. And I want to say it's 27-24. That's what I'm going with.
What's interesting is Georgia is favored, even though they're at Alabama.
The SEC championships in Alabama?
I believe so.
Yeah,
I thought the SEC championship was always in Atlanta. I thought it was in the not the Superdome, the Mercedes-Benz Dome.
I thought it was because the fact is that the Big Ten is always at Lucas Oil Stadium. So
yep.
Well, they're giving Alabama home for it. That's why I was saying it.
Oh, so they're like
And
giving him home favor, is what you're saying?
yeah, they have home favor. But they're only I mean, it's almost 50-50. They have Georgia 54.5% win probability.
Yeah, they're giving them the 2.5. Yeah, pretty much the home. That's crazy. But yeah, it's at Mercedes Benz, and
But
they're giving.
but that's the thing is Georgia's the away.
Mhm.
So they're even leaning
Oh yeah,
Georgia
okay. Yep. I see
coming
now.
in.
That's crazy.
I
So
gotta, I gotta shout out to this guy real quick. What is up, CMOS? Long time no talk. Yes, I know Chelsea went down today. It hurts. That defender needs to get off my team. Tosin, we'll talk about him at another time. What happened to your Michigan Wolverines, though? Let's talk about that at some point. Continue. I'm sorry. Continue, Steve. I just wanted to say something. And also, Niners 87. Is that your brother, Mystic?
Yeah.
Shout out to Mystic's brother. Niners in 87. So come through sometime. We'd like to talk college football if you get a chance. But go ahead, Steve. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I think we get the upset. I think Alabama wins by a field goal. I don't think it's going to be terribly high scoring, believe it or not. I do think it's going to be like a 18, 19 to 23 point game.
Very interesting.
I like it. I think Georgia finds a way to get that revenge for that early loss in the season, right? I think they're going to find a way to take care of the football. Doing the normal thing. You're just getting ready at the right time. Getting on a roll to going into this playoff. I got Georgia winning 28-24.
I like that. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It'll be very interesting. I think it's going to be close. 3 to 4 points, I think, will be the difference. So we'll definitely see. What about this one? And I know you love Big 12 football, Mystic, just like I do. BYU Cougars versus Texas Tech Raiders. Now, before you get going, I'm going to give you my take. This is a huge relevance for rankings and potential entry into the new expanded playoff system, right? So they're really playing for position. I think if BYU wins, I still think Texas Tech gets in. I don't think there's any question to that. And if they don't win, that will be kind of interesting. That'll be very interesting. Another take I'll give you. Supposedly, Texas Tech has the most expensive roster in college football. It's like way more than anyone else have paid for, from what the rumors have it.
Oh wow!
I think, in my opinion, this means more to Texas Tech than it does BYU. I'm going, and I know BYU fans are going to hate me for this. I'm going Texas Tech winning, and I'm going to say this: I have Texas Tech winning. By 7 points. I'll give them 7 points or more. That's what I have. I'll go ahead and say 27 to 17. That's what I'm going to go.
This offense is scary. They got a bunch of guys that can produce. This quarterback likes to spread it around. From what I can see, they have a 1,000-yard running back. This Texas Tech offense is potent. If you go look at kind of their schedule and what they've done, I mean, just kind of like Indiana. You look at Indiana and the amount of points they're throwing up. I think if we kind of add these things up and kind of get a nice maybe average of Texas Tech, these dudes probably average close to 35 to 40 a game. Like, they are throwing up points. If BYU does not come out and be prepared for what this offense can do, the way they spread it around, I can see this game getting out of hand. I definitely, right now, in my opinion, I have Texas Tech winning 35-21.
I think the difference in this game, and the thing that people you brought up, their offense, I think Texas Tech's defense is going to make the difference in this game.
For sure.
Like, their ability to just smother teams and I mean just smother them and then run the football on offense and play a very traditional style, old school football, I think keeps this game very low scoring once again and almost a boring game unless you really like old school football. I think it's going to be like 18-10.
Hey,
Tech.
to Steve's point over here, a name to watch: Jacob Rodriguez, linebacker, Texas Tech, 101 tackles, has a sack on the year. Cool. 6 pass deflections, 4 interceptions, 7 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries on the season. The dude is a just football magnet, is what it sounds like. Hey, Ollie, you're muted, my guy.
Muted.
Oh, can you hear me now?
There
I'm
we
like
go.
the old
They
Verizon.
also have a guy on their team that has 12 and a half sacks on the year as well.
Yeah, I think both these teams are going to come to fight. Both quarterbacks are going to come to play. I know those BYU fans are nuts. They were nuts during game day. They were nuts, on the big noon show. I think they're going to come to play. It'll be very interesting. What happens in that game? I'm very excited for it, to be honest. One last game, and the reason I wanted to bring this game up is because it does have.
Oh, hey, I'm sorry. We totally overlooked something here.
Sure.
These teams just played each other 3 weeks ago, and Texas Tech handled BYU 29-7.
That's true.
I was looking at that.
Yeah, that's definitely true. So
that's what I'm telling you. If they're not careful, if they don't have a better game plan, Texas Tech's going to be all over them.
Yeah, and it'll be very, very interesting. One last game I want to talk about, and then I have one little funny thing I want to go over with you guys to shut it down. The game I want to talk about now is, and this has implications to what happens with the University of Miami. At least I think it does, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. Duke versus Virginia for the ACC title, right? That game is going to be very interesting because we mentioned earlier, Penn State's interested in both of these coaches, right? So they're kind of fighting for a new job in a sense. Will Manny Diaz leave Duke to go to Penn State? I think Penn State's a much bigger program, so yeah, I think that happens. Or the Virginia guy as well. That could very well happen if he gets the job.
Definitely.
And what happens if Duke does the upset, which I don't think it happens, but let's say Duke upsets Virginia, though. Does that makes Virginia, what, 10-3?
Yep.
Right? Does that help UM at all?
I'm pretty sure, isn't this whole like ACC championship like almost like a guaranteed berth if you win it type of thing? Like I don't know how you put Duke in at 7-5 if they win. I don't, or potentially 8-5.
That's the thing. If you supposedly if you're a conference winner, right, or a conference champion, you're supposed to get an automatic berth.
Yeah.
So if Duke pulls off the upset, do they get the automatic berth?
Man,
imagine a 7-5 team, right?
Imagine if that happened and in Miami missed the playoff.
That would be a disgusting upset, especially since they just played each other not that long ago.
Yeah.
Virginia spanked them 34-17.
And I believe Virginia would end up being 10-3 while Miami still would have a 10-2 record at that point if it happened.
Correct.
All right, now for my real take. I think Virginia spanks Duke. I'm sorry. That's what I really think is going to happen. I was just trying to make it interesting and try to figure out, what's that funny meme that everybody says, Mystic? So you're telling me there is a chance, You know what I mean? That's really what it was about. But no. For real, I like Duke. I like their program. They always seem to be the underdogs, but they have underdogs and they have those moments where they come to fight and they kind of surprise you a little, right? That's what I think about Duke's program, but I think Virginia is just that much better than them right now. I expect Virginia to take care of business. If Duke pulls off the upset, then wow. But I think Virginia takes care of it. In fact, I think they cover it just like what happened to Miami. I think that's what happens to Duke. Very similar. So
I can see that.
what do you think,
Yeah,
Steve?
I mean, yeah, go ahead, Steve.
I think Virginia is coming off of a loss where they're pissed off,
Yeah.
and their offense could not move. They could not get it together. I think they're angry, and I think, unfortunately for Duke, they're going to be they walked into the wrong alley at the wrong time.
Wait.
That already
They-
happened. I think you're looking at the wrong thing because they lost to Wake Forest and then went and beat Duke up, and then they beat Virginia Tech last
Yeah,
week.
you're right. You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Now Duke, on the other hand, let's go to Duke's schedule. And Duke,
I'm looking at this wrong.
wow, they did the same thing. They lost to Virginia already, 34-17.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they lost to him earlier this year. That's why.
Okay. I thought you were saying they're coming off a loss in the last week. I was like, no, that didn't happen.
No, I thought Virginia. I thought they did. What I was looking at was saying they just lost. But either way, like, Virginia is the better team. They're a better offense. It's an offense that averaged 33 points a game this year. Like,
Yeah.
Duke's about to get the belt. Like, let's be honest. It could be a surprise, but no, I think all things are the same in all sports. When it comes to the wire, the good teams generally show up, and the bad teams who have somehow made their way to that point get shown who they really are.
So I think what you're trying to say is they're about to get that little brother treatment. You know, if you know, you know. I'd say Virginia's probably about to lay the absolute smackdown on Duke and show them that unfortunately they're not in the right league. I think that's probably going to be the give me of the weekend of championships, if you ask me.
So this is what I will tell you. I'm looking at Duke's schedule, right?
Yep.
They did beat a nail biter versus Clemson, so they beat a Clemson team. And that Clemson team, everybody thought was going to be running for the ACC this year. Let's not forget that.
Yep.
They had one of the more coached teams that stuck together. Everyone thought they had the complete team this year. They didn't get killed by Georgia Tech as much as I thought they would. And you look at games where they've won. When they score more than 34 points in a game, more so than others,
They got a chance to win.
They have a chance to win. So if they keep them under 34, I think Virginia is winning. I'm going to go ahead and say this. I think it's 41-17 Virginia. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah, I think 38-10.
38-10? Okay. That's not bad either. You know, we'll see.
Mine was 43-10.
43-10? Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But it's not over yet, gentlemen. We're about to get to the bottom line, and we'll give our final thoughts. And thank you, everybody. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe. We're talking college football. No, this is not an Ohio State channel. I happen to be a fan of Ohio State. Yes, I talk about them, but we also talk about the other Midwest teams like Iowa. We talk about Big 12. We'll talk about South Florida, even the Hurricanes when we get a chance. But yeah. So make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe, share the channel with your friends. But I have something that I want to share with you guys because it was a little video that kind of went viral a little bit. Had over 294,000 views, and I want to share this with you guys. So just bear with me 1 second. Because this was kind of a funny video, and I want your guys' thoughts on what they said. So hold on for me one moment. Oh, okay. That is not what I wanted. Okay. Here we go. Screen. I'll make this big. Let me know. Is it full screen on your guys' screen?
Yeah, I'm good.
Let me know if you can hear the audio.
No, I can't.
I cannot.
You cannot. Okay, thank you. Let me stop sharing for a second. That is what I was worried about. Stop the video.
And he's gone, folks. He disappeared. No, I'm just kidding. He's probably just backstage figuring something out. That's all right,
We
though.
have taken over the show. The inmates are run the asylum.
It kicked me out instead. Said nope.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, let me try this again. Share screen. Good. I got the audio selected. Good. Here we go. Let's share this again. Now tell me if you can hear the audio.
Like all
the
this type of
worst.
stuff. It's
We're
coming.
good.
Yeah, we can hear it.
I can't stand them. They think they're just like God's gift to college football, and it's just like you're not even close, really, if we're being honest. And listen, Indiana is about to be God's gift to college football. Thank you to our Lord and Savior Kurt Signetti. But like Ohio State, historically, good program. You're not Notre Dame. You're not USC. You're not Alabama. You're not even like Florida, kind of like you're not even in a way LSU. Like no. You're just kind of the best of the Big Ten East for years. So like pipe it down some. I'm not excited about it, but I do expect that the Indiana
Like you need sunglasses and a mask to like roll.
Dang. They were really telling you Ohio State fans how it was in that, weren't they?
Hey, yo.
You're muted. You're muted.
So I wanted to discuss this because
That's crazy.
he had some interesting takes and almost a take that kind of reminded me of something, right? Did he really say my Lord and Savior Kurt Signetti? Did he really just say that?
Yes, he did.
Oh my God.
That's hilarious.
If people don't know at home, for those that don't know a professional team that we follow, right? Me and Mystic and Steve are Miami Dolphin fans. We have people that use that type of verbiage in our fan base about us or somebody, right? That's where we've heard that, especially when they say he has the left arm of God. You've heard that complex and stuff. That's where I'm hearing this. And then he was saying, they're not even close to Alabama or anything, or they're not even LSU. And then he said that we're not even Ford. What is fixed
Florida.
or repair? Fixed or repair?
Florida.
Oh, no, I thought he said Ford. I thought he said
No, he said Florida. He said Florida-ish.
oh, Florida-ish. Let's talk about Florida-ish. I want to say in memory in history, in the past history, compared to Florida, Ohio State has had 9 national championships. Yes, 9. Right? I want to say in the last 20 years, Florida has only had 1, if memory serves me right. I can't even remember if Indiana ever won a national title. Ever.
No, Indiana has been the losingest
Franchise.
college program in college football history up to 3 seasons ago, where they have now turned into one of the winningest programs in college football.
Yes. So let's also continue to talk about that real quick. So what has Ohio State done, right? Ohio State has had over 489 players drafted since I can't even tell you when, right? To the NFL. And we're not talking about signing as a undrafted free agent. We're talking about officially drafted players.
Yep.
Right. So you talk about that. Currently, there's a report saying that there's about 57 I want to say 57 former Ohio State players currently on active rosters now, right? 57. Alabama, on the other hand, they have like 63, I think it is. So it's like 57 to 63, right? Granted, Alabama does have more national titles than we do. They have 18, we have 9, right? I'll give you that. But if you look at the overall picture historically, and we're talking about in history, Ohio State has had one of the top recruiting classes over the past however many years we're talking about, where they finish in the top 3, right? Historically, right? The only other team I want to say that kind of switches spots with us every once in a while is USC. That's the other team.
Yep.
Right. So you can go look at this stuff up. I'm not kidding. You can go look this shit up. And this guy wants to say that we're not even close to Alabama or even granted LSU. Do you know how many national titles LSU has won? I'll give you a guess.
5.
Not even, they're almost half of us. They have 4. They have 4 total, right? We have 9. In addition, and this is the funny part, and this is kind of what I want. I was laughable, right? He called us the winner of the Big Ten East, which it's no longer East versus West. You know, it's just one big ranking now. That's what they do, right? So let's actually look at this real quick. And this is the funny part. I laughed at it when I watched this. So the first time we ever played, I want to say was in 1901, is from what I found. And we actually lost that game 18-6. Credit to Indiana. Since then, since that game, Ohio State leads the series by, they have 80 wins for Ohio State, 12 wins for Indiana, and 5 ties. It's not even close. It is not even close. The last time I want to say Indiana beat Ohio State, I want to say was like in the 80s. I want to say it was like I think I was like 8 years old, like 88 or 89, somewhere around there. I don't know the exact dates. You go look it up, but that's how long ago it was. Right? Since then, they haven't beaten us. Either we win or it ended up in a tie, surprisingly. Right? Overall, Ohio State has provided historically more talented players and pumped into the NFL than Indiana, and has come close to what the SEC or even Alabama themselves have done. Granted, I'll give it to you. They've won more national championships than we have, right? I'll give it to them. I just don't understand why this guy is getting off. And then he's getting off on the saying that they were like hating on the fact that Ohio State fans do this thing where we say OH and then IO, right? Every team has like a chant, right? They all do, right? I'm sure Iowa does. I mean, I'm sure they have something that they do to signify their fan base. Do they know mistake?
Oh, yeah.
Right? So we say OH. I don't know what Iowa does, but I'm sure they have something. You know, even the Florida State fans do that thing where they're, you know, doing the tomahawk dance and everything. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm sure South Florida fans have their thing that they do. Every fan base.
Horns.
Yeah. You know, and even Texas fans say hook 'em horns. You know what I mean? They have their own shtick, right? It's not our fault that we beat up on you guys every year. It's not my fault that you guys continue to either lose and at best tie against us. Don't hate just because you're losing, right? They were acting like, and I use this loosely. People say that Indiana is a rival of ours because they're right next door. No, they're not a rival of ours. There's only one rival, and that's Michigan, right? Those guys were acting like Michigan fans. I'm just going to point that out. That's what Michigan fans generally do. Not all of them. There's some respectable ones, but that's what they do. And I think that's just a poor look for your fan base. I think they're kind of, you know, what's the term? And I can't remember exactly how to say it. The whole term about counting your chickens or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
Before they hatch.
Yes, right. That's what they're doing. We know of another Indiana team. No offense to you, Mystic, because I like that team too. But they kind of did that as well in professional football, right? With the big trade that they made mid-season, and now they don't look so good, right?
Well, that's what happens when a quarterback tries to plant a fractured leg. But we won't go into that anyway.
You know
Yes,
what it sounded
I
like?
agree.
Ollie?
Go ahead. Go
It
ahead.
sounded like the Carolina Panthers yelling at Green Bay. That's what it sounded like to me.
Oh, dude, that's hilarious.
That's a good one too. So I just thought I'd share that. I wanted to end the show on a laughable note. I thought it was hilarious. Look, dude, whoever you are, more power to you. You know, you fan the way you want to fan. I'm not going to hold it against you. I'll make fun of it, but I won't hold it against you. But I will say this. This game is going to be close, but not because of the fact that I really feel that I fear you guys. I just think that our defenses are going to hold it down to make it that close of a game. And I think we still win because that's what history shows when we play you. So I'm going with that. But that's all I got to say. Everybody hit the like button. Final thoughts. It's the bottom line. And actually, we will do this because I always forget to do it because it is the bottom line. All right, Steve, since you are our special guest, give us your final thoughts. Give us, your lowdown. What do you want to say out to the fans? What do you want to say? What do you think of this weekend? Give it to us all.
I think we're going to have another fun weekend of college football. I think we'll see the deciding factor, as we said earlier, to the Heisman Trophy, even though I still think Bynum Brown's getting snubbed, but that's me. You have 42 touchdowns and 7 interceptions across the year. I think you deserve to be there, but I get it. This has been fun. I really appreciate you allowing me to come up here and hang out with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we do it during Spaces every day. Yeah, let's get on some college football and see where things shake out for the college playoffs, and then head into where these guys fall to the draft in the coming summer.
Definitely. I cannot. And actually, stay backstage because I got something to talk to you about regarding that. Mystic, final thoughts.
Hey, awesome. So I gotta kind of, I'm gonna try to be quick here, but I'm gonna dedicate my final thoughts to a good old is what we like to call him. What is it? The common stability here in Iowa, we like to call Mr. Kirk Ferentz. It was announced today that the winningest coach in Big Ten, currently in Big Ten history, with a record of 212 and 128 since 1998, is going to return for his 28th season at Iowa next year. I'm super excited for the guy to come back again. I guess they're going to be super aggressive in the transfer portal. I got some interesting recruits coming in. It was interesting to see. He has a contract through 29, but obviously, being 70 years old, it's going to be curious to see how long he does continue to coach and do it at a high level. I'm one of those guys, growing up, he's always been there. So like I was telling Ollie before the show, it's going to be interesting to see what that program goes and does, once he does decide to retire and move on. But other than that, I am excited for the college football, the championships this weekend, so we can get this playoff kind of 100% set in place. We're going to have another show next week following, obviously, these wonderful championship games. We have a little bit of recap on that next week. I appreciate everyone, taking the time to join us, throw in your 2 cents. Don't worry. You're going to hear something about Ball State before you know it. I haven't forgot you. So I appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Mystic. I appreciate that. And I would love to get in on the Ball State conversation. I'm going to be talking about Bowling Green State University, speaking of Ball State. So we'll definitely talk about that soon. Everybody hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. Like I said, tell your friends. We're trying to grow the channel. If you're watching on TFTG or at X, come over to the 4th and 10U, our X page, or come to our channel, 4th and 10U, and subscribe over there as well. Like I said, we're trying to grow college football community, and we appreciate everybody. I think this weekend is going to be just as good as last weekend. We're going to have some nail biters. We're going to have some shocks. It's no holes barred. We will see what happens in college football. Till next time, you all have a wonderful night.